Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome our viewing audience and those in attendance. I'm opening the meeting of the Bristol Township Planning Commission. I will kindly ask you to stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'm going to ask you to remain standing. To keep in mind our troops that are in harm's way, our prisoners of war, our killed in action, our missing in action, the children who were separated from their parents, all those suffering from these terrible wars, tragedies, and disasters, and any personal intentions you may have. Thank you very much. So we have two items on our agenda, but before we get to them, we're going to go into the consideration of the February 3rd, 2026 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Commissioners, you have those minutes. You've had an opportunity to review them. I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and it's been seconded to approve it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Commissioners. The first item on our agenda, do I have a second?
I'd like to second it.
Moved in second. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Commissioners. Oh, I didn't have my microphone on. Do I have to do that again, or did we all get it?
We got it.
We got it. Good. Well, then the next item on our agenda is land development. And this is for Stag Industrial Holdings, LLC, 1 Federal Street, Boston, is requesting preliminary and final land development approval for minor site improvements to reconfigure the existing parking and loading facilities on the property located at 3001 State Road, Croydon, tax parcel number 05-058-002-002, within an M-2 heavy manufacturing zoning district.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Michael Floyd with the firm of Archer & Griner, appearing on behalf of both the owner and the applicant, Stag Industrial Holdings, LLC, which, as you just stated, has submitted an application for preliminary and final land development for property located at 3001 State Road.
And I didn't quite get your name.
Michael Floyd.
Michael.
F as in Frank, L-O-Y-D.
Thank you, Michael. Okay.
And the application itself is very straightforward. We are proposing value-added site improvements to the parking lot area and some stormwater management systems on the property. What this application does not involve are any changes to the existing building in terms of the footprint of the building, the height of the building, or anything along those lines. These are value-added improvements to make the property more attractive to a future tenant. Stag is a large industrial REIT based in Boston. They have a great deal of historical experience with both new construction, but also I'll call these value-added improvements to existing older buildings. And their goal here is to make improvements to the property to attract a credit-worthy household tenant to the property. With me this evening is Tom Bayshard with Mohawk Land Development Consultants. Tom is a licensed engineer in the Commonwealth, and he is the project engineer of record for this matter. And Tom will walk us through his exhibits this evening, including an aerial photograph of the property and the surrounding uses, so members of the public can see where this property is located, again, in the M2 Industrial Zoning District. Then he'll present the site plan itself and show these the proposed improvements.
That's fine.
If there's no objection, I'd like Tom to come up now and walk us through his exhibits.
Okay. Sure.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening.
And if you use your microphone so that people can hear you, that'd be good.
Okay.
Unlike what I just did.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay. Okay, this is the first exhibit. This is right from the site plan set. This is an aerial exhibit. This picture was taken in February of 2025. We use a company called Nearmap. Just to orient you, north is pointing straight up and slightly to the right. The scale of this drawing is 1 inch equals 100 feet. The blue outline is the proposed site. It's located at 3001 State Road, which is this line right here.
So, excuse me, Tom, if you don't mind, just stand a little closer to the
closer.
microphone.
Can I move this a little bit?
Or hold it if you want, I guess, or...
Is that better?
Oh, there's a hand mic over there.
Okay. Is this on? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? No?
Switch back the other way. I saw a blink blue and I caught you for a second and then shut off.
Okay.
The technical guy's coming in now.
Oh, there it is. We got it. Thank you. Okay, so the site's about 7.6 acres, surrounded by industrial uses on the west, south, and east side. On the north, there's a rail spur, the Pennsylvania rail line. Just to the north of that is Bristol Pike, Route 13. Familiar reference point, the Wawa, is at this location right here. The site has all public utilities, water, sewer, electric, gas, telephone. No changes to the utilities. There are no stormwater management facilities on site. There is a pipe that goes under State Road in this area right here. Water backs up onto the site. It's created some wetlands. There's also some wetlands to the east of the driveway in this area right here. We're not proposing any work within the wetlands or within the right-of-way. It's basically just kind of a bird's eye view of the site. If there's no questions, I'll go on to the next exhibit.
You can.
Okay. Oops. We'll make this pretty quick. It's pretty straightforward, as Mike said. This is also from the site plan set. This is the overall site plan with zoning analysis. The brown shaded rectangle is the building. The light gray shading is all existing paving. The dark gray shading is proposed heavy-duty paving. And the light blue shading is proposed light-duty paving. If you recall from the previous slide, there was a very large parking lot, coming into the site right here. This site used to be a manufacturing facility, was a long-term tenant in here. I believe it was a printing operation. They vacated the site. Last year, we received a land alteration permit just to clean the site up after while the tenant was leaving. We put in some concrete in the loading area right in here. We added some dock doors. We restriped this portion of the loading area into car parking and put in an accessible ramp into the building, and then added office space in that corner of the building. Where the owner envisions the proposed use of this building to be warehouse distribution, which has a lower intensity for parking, lower parking calc. So we're proposing to eliminate a good portion of this existing parking lot, reconfigure it so that the cars and the trucks are not commingling as much. It's a little safer circulation and more efficient. We are keeping 10 spaces out here, and there'll be a sidewalk from this parking lot along the drive aisle with a crosswalk, and then there's New Jersey barriers to protect the employees going into the building in that area right there. There are existing 112 car parking spaces. With this reconfiguration, there are 60 parking spaces. 50 are required by ordinance. So we have 10 additional spaces. And by removing a good portion of this existing parking lot, we're able to add that impervious coverage to the existing loading court in this area here, and we'll add 16 new trailer spaces. So from pre-developed to post-developed, we're actually slightly reducing the impervious coverage, and we were able to do that by not disturbing more than 1 acre of land. So we don't have an NPDES permit, and no new stormwater controls are required. We are also proposing to update all of the on-site lighting to energy-efficient LED lighting. Some of it's already in place, some of it we're just kind of shifting things around because of how we reconfigured the parking areas. And then there's essentially no trees on the site. We're going to be adding 29 new shade trees, 11 along the street, and 18 within the site around the parking areas. This is an island that now separates the car parking from the loading court, and that'll be loaded with trees in there. Aside from that, we're not changing any of the utilities. It's basically just kind of moving things around to make it more efficient, make it more marketable for a future tenant. And that's essentially the entire project. The final slide is just the landscaping plan, if you'd like to see it. As I mentioned previously, there are some wetlands associated with that little basin right there, and then over in this area here, there's some wetlands. So rather than having the street trees in a straight line, we just kind of put them into little clusters to avoid the wetlands. That's why it looks like that. And then a row in front of the trailer parking. There's a row between the car parking and the trailer storage. And then there's a couple on either side of this parking area. And that's basically it.
Thank you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like to go into your waiver request.
Okay. We did, I originally identify some variances, but your engineer basically said because they're existing, non-conforming.
But we don't go through the variances, we're just going through the waiver.
Just through the waivers,
request.
okay. So I believe there aren't any variances anyway at this point, but the first waiver is for preliminary and final to be considered as a single application because the project is so small. We would request.
Well, Tom, I'm going to ask you to cite the number.
Okay, it's number 177-14.E. And we're basically, the proposed improvements are minor in nature and no phasing is proposed. Next waiver is 177-35.A. This one states the requirements for street standards. State road is identified as an arterial street in Bristol Township comprehensive plan. Arterial streets require a 100-foot future right-of-way and minimum 48-foot cartway width. The applicant is respectfully requesting a waiver from this requirement as the proposed site improvements are very minor in nature. If we were to increase the roadway width and add sidewalks and along the frontage, we would be increasing the impervious coverage, we would be into stormwater, we would be into NPDES permitting, and it wouldn't be a viable project at that point. The next waiver is, there's actually three. It's 177-35A, 177-43A, and 177-66. States that sidewalks shall be provided on one side of all abutting streets and along both sides of all proposed and existing streets. As I mentioned, there are wetlands along the frontage of the site and on both sides of the driveway, which would make basically a sidewalk not really work in that area. The next one is 177-35A, 45A, and 67. states that curbs shall be provided on one side of all abutting streets and along both sides of proposed and existing streets. We're requesting a waiver from that requirement due to the location of the existing stormwater facilities, same as the curbing and the road widening. It just doesn't make the project viable if we have to make all of those improvements.
Tom, I know this might be a little picayune, but I'd appreciate it if you spell the numbers all the way out for each one.
Gotcha. Want me to redo that one? That last one was 177-35A, 177-45.A, and 177-67.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. The next one is 177-41.K. This states that all parking lots, separator islands, and aisles shall be confined within curbing. It appears that no curbing has been identified on the plan. The existing parking lot adjacent to the office was restriped under land alteration permit 2024-000047. The two new configured parking bays are proposed with curb. This bay right here and along the frontage, those are proposed with curb, but this is existing paving that doesn't have curbing, it's just striping. To the extent necessary, the applicant requests a waiver to allow the existing parking adjacent to the office area to remain without curbing. The next waiver request is 177-91.A1 and 177-92.A1. These sections require the plan to be drawn at a scale of 1 inch equals 50 feet or 1 inch equals 100 feet. The applicant is requesting a waiver from this requirement. The proposed scales of 1 inch equals 40 feet and 1 inch equals 30 feet allow for better clarity and presentation of the plans. The final waivers are 177-91.C3 and 177-92.C.3. These waivers require the location, names, and widths of streets, the location and names of railroads, the location of sanitary sewers, storm drains, water mains, culverts, petroleum product lines, gas lines, electric and telephone lines, fire hydrants, and other utilities, or significant man-made features on or within 200 feet of any part of the track to be shown on the plans. And we're asking for a waiver from this requirement as all of the proposed improvements are confined within the limits of the site.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Other than the waivers, the rest of this application is all will comply?
We'll comply. We'll work with your professionals on their latest round of comments. We don't take any issue with any of the comments that were provided.
Thank you. Commissioners, you heard the presentation. I would entertain a motion. Kurt, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Again, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. In regards to land development for 3001 State Road, LD, Bristol Township number 2025-000176, preliminary final land development, TMP number 05-058-002-002, Bristol Township, Bucks County, PA. We would make a motion to recommend to council to approve for preliminary and final, and to note that the waivers requested, we have no issues with any of those waivers, and noting that the rest of Gilmore and Associates letter dated March 25th, 2026 would be a will comply.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved in seconds. Any comments or questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
For your time.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Having nothing else on our agenda this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved in second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Good evening, everyone.